Hey there, and welcome to the Everyday Marksman, the podcast where it's all about tactical skills for living a more adventurous life. As always, I'm your host, Matt Robertson, and today we are going to go over how 2025 is going so far. You see, I started out the year with a bunch of goals that I told you about, and I think it's time to do a little update. There's been a lot that's going on, whether it's from the site or from tariffs or China or SIG P320s going off on their own all over the place. Please don't sue me. It's a joke. It's a joke, SIG. All right. So it's been a pretty busy year for me so far. I'll be honest, a lot of my time is going towards the day job, and I've been very, very busy there. And that means a lot of things have been put on the back burner, but we are still trucking along. So let's go over the goals that I laid out so we can talk about how that's going. There were 5 things that I discussed. One of them was competing in 4 to 6 competitions with a pistol component. 2 was getting down to about 12 to 15% body fat. 3 was getting my general ticket for my amateur radio and doing 3 POTA activations. 4 was learning a bit more about general gunsmithing skills. And 5 was finish writing the book that I've had going on for, I think, 2 years at this point. So let's talk. To be honest, none of these have actually happened, though I've made some progress on some of them, and some of them have adjusted over time. So let's talk pistol shooting. All of my range sessions so far this year have been pistol focused, be it testing optics like the Shield AMS I put up a review on the site for recently, or right now I'm testing the Shield RMS-X, which I'm actually really enjoying as an alternative to my Trijicon SRO, as like a competition-focused big window optic. I think the big thing for me is I'm doing a lot of testing of stuff that's not made in China, so that kind of limits your options a bit. I've done 2 postal matches for the Everyday Marksman. So I shot the first course of fire back in January, posted an article about that, and there is one ongoing right now. So I shot that course of fire, thought it was actually really good. I did a write-up on the first one. I'll do a write-up on the second one after it finishes at the end of April 2025. But really nice, simple course of fire to go through a couple magazines, practice your precision, practice your reloads and your speed. Really good stuff, but I'm not counting those towards my actual goal of 4 to 6. So for that, I'm looking at all the local matches. Again, I'm traveling in April towards the end of the month, so all the ones I would like to shoot, whether Steel Challenge or local 2 guns, I can't do any of those just because they're all conflicting with traveling. But in all, while my shooting sessions aren't as frequent as I would like, they are happening, and I'm getting plenty of time in shooting pistols. And I think my top 2, the ones I shoot the most right now, are my Beretta 92A1, which recently came back from an extended stay at Allegheny Arms in Pennsylvania, getting worked over. It is a beautiful gun now. I think it is easily one of my favorite pistols in the safe. It's the kind of pistol that I will hand down to my children someday, or my son someday, because it is just nice. It shoots beautifully. It feels great in the hand. It's been dehorned and worked over. It's just super nice and classy. I'm very, very big fan. They did some great work. So Allegheny Arms, not sponsored or anything, but Josh and crew out there did a wonderful job with that. And then as far as my latest purchase goes, beginning of the year, I picked up a Springfield Armory 1911 AOS in 9mm, and I've been tinkering with it to hell. Tinkering is life, as I like to say. Optic experimentation, Duve grips. I installed a Stan Chen Magwell on it, and just kind of getting a feel for how to really tweak and modify and what do I really like in a pistol. I will later do a write-up on the Springfield Armory AOS 9mm. I think at this point, most people probably know that it is a very nice feeling. Yes, it's in my hands right now, unloaded. It is safety checked, but it is a very nice, overall, very nice feeling pistol. Trigger feels good. Safety feels nice. Optics mounting system works really well. It's just a good all-around pistol, and I'm very happy with it. It's heavy, all loaded up with a Surefire X300 and the optic and an empty magazine. It's like 47 ounces, so it's kind of not going to work for a lot of competitions with weight limits, but a lot of competitions don't, and I'm fully planning on taking advantage of that. All right, moving on. Body composition and fitness goals. All right, so I started the year at around 18 to 19%, which was good for me. I wanted to get down to 12 to 15% this year, and I figured the time to do it would have been spring leading into summer. So back in January, I did start going on a calorie deficit, thinking, all right, I got months to cut this nice and easy and nice and slow. However, that didn't work out because, well, I wasn't very disciplined. And then I have a lot of work travel that happened, social events where I just kept going off the rails and messing up my own progress. So in all, since January, and we're like 3.5 months in, I have only down by like 1% body fat. So not a whole lot to show for it. And while I could double down and just say I'm going to be a robot and lock in, as the kids say these days, to buckle down for summer, I had something else come up that I think is going to be a little bit more important and maybe tangentially get me to that goal anyway. So at work, I got cajoled into signing up for a Spartan Super 10K race, a Spartan race or Super 10K obstacle course race at the end of October, and I'm leading the team. So about 8 people who wanted to sign up. So I wrote a 26-week training plan for them to follow, as well as my own plan using equipment that I've got available in my garage gym. So really heavy focus on my air bike, on my kettlebells, and rucking as I go, as well as my barbell training. I'm looking forward to it. And I think over the course of this plan will officially start at the beginning of first week of May. I think over the course of those 25 weeks, I will probably continue to lean down anyway, and then I'll do a cut immediately after. So, and a much more firm one. So this goal is not out of reach. I think it's still perfectly doable. It just didn't happen yet. Speaking of things that didn't happen yet, let's talk about radio skills. So, I said beginning of the year that I wanted to get my general radio ticket and start getting on the air, doing 3 POTA activations, peaks on the air or summits on the air or parks on the air. That's what it was. Yeah. Parks on the air activations. And, for the beginning part of this year, it's been too cold and wet to actually go out and experiment. So now that it is springtime and it's been a little bit drier, a little bit warmer, I have practiced setting up my antenna. So I have a Chameleon RSM, or basically it's a portable antenna that I can stand up and stick into the ground and pull down as needed. So I've been practicing that along with my Yaesu FT710. And I've been getting on the air to listen. So it's been really cool to hear all the traffic going, but I did not end up getting my license yet. I still have to actually go take the test and study for it. And that's not going to happen without actually setting aside time to do it. So again, I have not achieved that goal, but I am making progress by practicing with the radio, which was very helpful for me on the technical license, the technician license. So let's talk about writing the book. I have worked on it here and there, but I've honestly not made a ton of progress on it. Given the constraints on my time, I really only have about 30 minutes a day to myself to do anything, unless I start taking time away from others. I have a hard enough time just keeping up with regular website posts and podcasts, much less getting deep in the weeds on a book. Now, that said, in the course of writing that, I think it ended up being like a 30-page workout plan with nutrition, everything that I wrote for the Spartan Race group. I did learn the ins and outs of a publishing program that is related. I bought for the purposes of the book. So that was good. I just need to buckle down on content. And look, if I'm trying to put a finger on it, what is the holdup on writing? It's interesting because writing with a website, you end up feeling like if you don't like it, you can always go back and change it. I can always go back to an article. I can update it, be like, yeah, I don't think that anymore, and then change something about it. With a book, it just feels more permanent. Like I'm putting my flag in the ground to say, this is the truth. And as with all things, nothing is true forever. Maybe your opinions change, or maybe my opinions are going to change. And I also think there's a healthy bit of, because the book is about everything that I write about, which a lot of it is fitness and mindset, a lot of what I write about in the book so far has broached in the realm of, you would probably want to go to a real coach for that. And so where's the fine dividing line between I'm writing enough as an enthusiast to get you interested, to get you to understand the concept as I understand it without diving into that. But I'm really not the expert here. And if you have questions about this, you should ask an expert. So I'm still trying to find that dividing line. Forgive me. Okay. But speaking of gear, which is the easier part to write the book, you might be wondering how this ongoing turmoil, the global trade war and tariffs, and how that's affecting upcoming reviews. Luckily, the answer to that is really hasn't so far. Mainly because I'm so far behind on the reviews I've already needed to write that I already have all the stuff that's going to last me the rest of the year. So, but joking aside, but half joking, I have been on a big not made in China kick lately. So we can optics and pistols and things like that just aren't made in China. And because most of these economic things with tariffs are really impacting China first and foremost, I haven't really been hit. Like I've been on a big dive down shield optics lately, and that's all made in England. And a lot of the pistols I'm shooting are all made in the USA. So that hasn't been a big deal. And I tend not to buy Chinese made gear like load bearing kit either, mostly all small shops in the US. So that's been, not a big problem. The biggest issue is actually ammunition, because if you didn't know this, a very large percentage of reloading components used commercially, like primers and powder, come from China. And that it will be a problem for tariffs. At least in the meantime, I have built up a pretty healthy stockpile via Ammo Squared. They are not sponsoring this one. I still have an affiliate with them, and you can check that link at everydaymarksman.co/ammo or ammosquared.com/marksman. Though I'm small potatoes these days, I'm pretty sure they are running sponsorship deals with Flannel Daddy himself these days. Great company, and it has really immensely helped me build up a big stockpile of ammo kind of mindlessly without even thinking about it. So I have plenty of ammo for now. That said, what do I got on deck? Between writing for the site and writing for American Rifleman magazine, who I publish with from time to time, I've got products to review from Vetter Holsters, Shield Sights, Swamp Box, Palmetto State Armory, CZ USA, Henry Repeating Arms, Springfield Armory, and FN USA. All of these things are on deck and all needing to get written over the next several months. So I've got plenty of things to review, so don't worry about that. On the gear front, I actually last year decided I was going to go for more of a maximalist chest rig configuration to see how I felt about it. Because as you know, traditionally, I like to go for more of a minimalist chest rig, single layer of AR magazines, couple pouches for some pistols or utilities, radio, and that's about it. Super slick. I decided, why not try something a little bit heavier, a little bit more ammo that could stand alone. So I had built that out last year. I'm doing some experimenting with it, hopefully to shoot a match or two with it. But that review is also coming up. So where does that put us now? Well, going forward from here, I've got a very busy Q2 in front of me. I do have a guest post submitted for the site. Sorry about that, Peter. And all of my rage time this year has been for pistols. And I know I need to get out there and do some more rifle stuff. It just takes longer to do because the closest sufficient rifle range for me is like a 2-hour drive each way. So it's easier to get pistol stuff done. But I know I got to do 2 rifles and some more testing that way. I've also been paying a lot of attention to gear conversations, both around social media and Reddit and things. And of course, as always tends to happen, things are circling back around in general, and people are kind of what's old is new again. But I do think there's some room to experiment with some stuff that I've not usually gone down that rabbit hole in the past. Things like the inner outer belt configuration. I've always said it seems like it's got great utility, but for me and my purposes, I tend to just be okay with using it more of a slim padded belt. But I feel like maybe now's the time to go ahead and experiment with it. I'm doing so much pistol shooting with different pistols that would be convenient to have an inner belt that I can then slap on different outer belts for different pistols. Like if I'm going to shoot my CZ P10 with 19+1 magazines and more of like a carry optics thing, or if I'm going to shoot my Beretta as like an iron sights practical pistol, or shoot my 1911 with an optic on it in like a limited division for Steel Challenge, having a single inner belt and then a bunch of outer belts I could slap on and off there would be really convenient. Okay. Well, that is going to be it for me. It's just a quick update today. I hope you're doing well. Make sure you come by the website, everydaymarksman.co, and then hit that big green subscribe button, join the email list, join the Discord server, because as much as I may not be posting on the website as frequently while I have the rest of life going on, I am in the Discord server every day yucking up with you guys. Great stuff. All right. That is it for me. Take care. I'll see you next time.